Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long time since I uploaded, so hear me out, okay? I know it's been a long time. It's basically my laptop broke again. It was actually the same problem that I had to get it repaired for earlier, so was it ever really fixed? I don't know. So now I have proper editing software so I can edit. But also up until last week, I was in 4 summer courses, 2 of which were intersession, which means they are 12-week courses crammed into 6 weeks, and it's a lot. So I did not prioritize filming at all, and I also, for a while there, didn't really have the means to actually like edit and upload anything. But we are back now, and I asked you guys if you wanted to see some videos, just some quick rundown videos of basically the computer science courses that I've taken so far, as well as math courses because we have to take them as computer science students. So today we are starting with the most basic programming course that you will ever run into. I'm gonna try and make these videos as short as possible just so you can kind of get all of the information in one go. So this is the only one that's gonna have all the talking at the beginning because I just felt like I had to get through that. But yeah, these are just meant to be like quick videos to kind of give you guys an introduction to the courses that you're going to be experiencing. Starting with this one, which is basically an introduction to programming course. That's what ours was, and you'll have something like that no matter where you go, just because some people from high school come with a little bit of coding background. Don't be worried if you don't. I know quite a few people who didn't have any programming classes whatsoever in high school, so it's brand new for them. At my university, you can choose to write a final for the introduction to programming course like in the first few weeks of the course. So for example, if you have previous programming experience and it's going to be easy peasy for you, you can write that exam and you don't even have to take the full course. So that is an option at Laurier, which is where I go to school. And it's also an option at U of T, I believe. So they listed that basically you can either take the beginner class if you don't have any background, which I'd say would probably be a good choice anyways because it gets you used to how the professors there teach and how things are set up. But in a lot of schools, they don't require you to take that because they understand that some people already have programming background. So since this is one of the first year courses and one of the courses that you will run into your very first year in computer science, I wanted to go over what was required from high school. So for Laurier specifically, I brought it up so that I could actually remember. So specifically for Laurier, you had to have English at a minimum of 60% from high school. Most courses are like that though. They just require you to have a language prerequisite. Advanced functions, and then one of calculus and vectors, chemistry, or physics. So I had calculus and vectors and physics and chemistry, so I had all 3 of those. Chemistry, I genuinely, for Laurier, at least I don't know why they threw that in there. But yeah, so those are the required courses for Laurier. There are some that require, like, you have to have calculus, but in order to even get into the program and start that initial like introduction to programming class, you have to have those courses. So now I wanted to go over what this course covered, and I think I touched on it in another video, but I wanted a video just dedicated to it because it's the first course you're going to run into, and I feel like it's really important to know, especially if you don't come from a background of coding in high school at all. It's really good to know kind of what they cover. So this is pretty much what we covered. We did basic introduction to syntax. You could use a variety of different languages. We specifically used Python, but it honestly depends what school you go to, what language you start with. But Python was a very easy language to learn on, so I believe that's why we started with it. Learned formatted output, so just I think we also did input during that, so just input and output from the user, making it look nice, making it very like user-friendly and presentable. Decision structures, so those are your if, else if, and if, all of that kind of structural stuff. I just did the very basic decision structures. So if you just go and like Google programming if structure, that will give you the basics, pretty much what we would have covered. A few different types of loops. We did for and while loops, I believe, but just an introduction to like repetition. We used a few functions and libraries, so we kind of like learned which functions and in what libraries were available to us through, obviously with Python specifically, but it could be different depending on what language you're using. But we learned a little bit about that just so that we could use them to our advantage. And the thing about that too is, I mean, like all programming languages have functions for you to use. They have libraries with like predetermined variables and functions for you to make use of, but they may be named something differently depending on what language, but you should cover that in an introductory programming class regardless. We then learned strings, which is just letters, basically string manipulation. It's like using words and parts of words and looking at patterns in a string, which is just a word if you're beginner. We went through file handling, so opening and closing files from a directory, writing to files, reading from files, that kind of stuff. And then lastly, we did lists or arrays. So those are like the basics, and of those concepts we learned the very basics of them. So I kind of just wanted to give you guys a heads up. That's everything that we covered. I looked at the University of Waterloo, which has also a computer science program, but it's much, I guess, more prestigious than the one that I am currently in. Like their averages and stuff to get in are a lot higher, and they have quite a few more requirements, and it looked like they also go more into a little bit of like media and graphics. We didn't really do that. We may have touched on it a little bit in class, but that was about it. In case you guys are interested, the textbook that we used was called Starting Out with Python. It's this one with the banana. Oh no, what did I click? Oh my god, it's like I don't even know how to use a computer. So that's the textbook that we used. But yeah, besides that, it was very, very introductory concepts. I'll try and find some links that could help you guys out down below. But I just kind of wanted to give you a rundown in case there's anyone out there who is going into computer science, into a computer science program without having any background knowledge, so that you can at least kind of prepare and know what we covered. So yeah, I will leave a list of that kind of stuff down below, and I will try and leave some resources that could be really helpful. That is it for the first video. This was on an introductory programming class. Oh, I also should mention we did have a few labs where we got to implement the main concepts, so decision structures, input and output, file manipulation, working with different variables and libraries and functions. So we did have a few labs, super helpful, and I imagine you'll have those in any other computer science program, because you really need them to actually like know your stuff. But yeah, so I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to be uploading a lot of these because I have a lot of classes to cover. So let me know if you wanted me to mention anything else that I may have missed in this video in future ones. And I'll try to make them a bit more structured, because I think this one is going to be longer than I wanted it to be. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.